readers, I'm Amy, and today I'm going to be going back to a tag that I haven't done for a few years, and that is the Build a Book tag. So cozy on up with me and we'll talk about making a book. This is some tea that I got for my birthday. So I celebrated my 30th recently, and I had a tea party. We all wore prom dresses and drank a lot of tea samples, and this is Banana Nut Muffin from SereniTea on Etsy. And it tastes exactly like a banana nut muffin. I am cozied up because it is really, really cold outside. We had our first snow a couple days ago, and it's been like 20 degrees for the last 2 days. So I think that's really going to affect the books that I pick because I am feeling quite cozy. I want to hunker down in my little hole with my fireplace and my books and just veg. The idea of this tag is to pick things directly off your shelves. I am going to be picking things that I don't have on my shelves because they are in the mail and arriving soon. This tag was originally created by Leanne from Literary Diversions or Novel Menagerie. She's got like 2 different things going on, but thank you, Leanne, for creating this tag. I'm so looking forward to it. First prompt is genre. Recommend a book that reflects your novel's ideal genre and mood. Right now, I'd have to go with Legends and Lattes. Book 2, I believe, is coming out next month, and I'm so excited. It's going to be a prequel to Legends and Lattes, which is following an ogre who was in the military, and she's really tired of the military lifestyle and wants to settle down and make a coffee shop. And in this fantasy world, no one knows what coffee is. There's adorable friendships, adorable relationships, cute characters. You have the food and drink descriptions for this coffee shop are just delicious. I want more flavorful drinks just thinking about it. Like the way they describe chocolate. From what I remember, chocolate is described before it's named, but based on the description, I knew that it had to be chocolate. That's just how good this book is. It's cozy and it's food related and friendship related, and I love it. Next we have main character. If you could pull a main character from any book on your shelves to read another novel about, who would it be? I would have to go with Jenks from A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I recently read the first 2 books in the series, which my wrap-up is coming tomorrow, and I'll talk about how I'm almost done with A Closed and Common Orbit, and not quite done, but this video is being filmed after that. So I did finish that book, and it's great. But Jenks from A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet would probably be my main character. He was one of my favorite side characters. He's this, I'm gonna say little person, but I believe he's a little more alien than that. He was just so cute, and there's this storyline where he's in love with this AI and trying to figure out that relationship, and he loves her and values her even though she doesn't have a physical body. He's super into body modification, which I am going through my body mod phase, if you haven't noticed. I had to take out the double piercing that I had on one side for a surgery and couldn't get it back in. So when I went in to get re-pierced, I ended up with a septum, and then I ended up with a single on each side, and I'm waiting to schedule my second on each side, and I've scheduled my first custom tattoo. It's going to be an arm piece, so very into the body mod phase right now. Also, Jenks is just really funny and has this great rapport with everyone around him, and he really, really cares about the people around him, and I am all for that. Follow-up question, supporting character, who would be your main character's sidekick? I'm gonna have to go for the same book because I'm in my cozy adventure friendship phase now that winter has clearly settled in. That would be Chef. Chef, I do not remember the description of. Hopefully the book that I ordered for it is gonna come in the next week or 2, so I can look up the description again then. His name isn't actually Chef, they just call him Chef because he's the chef on the spaceship. No one except for his species can pronounce his name because he has, I believe, 5 or 6 vocal cords, or like different vocal things, and he uses all of them when pronouncing words in his language. And he's I know the description of this character was so weird, but again, he's super friendly. He's an excellent chef. He values food. He loves to learn about people and spend time with his friends. Great supporting character. I don't remember a ton of interaction going on between Chef and Jenks, so I think it would be amazing to see them more together. My other option for a supporting character would be Pepper was in book 2. I can't remember if Pepper was the name of the character in book 1 as well, but she was like Jenks's best friend. You know, it might not have been Pepper. It might have been someone else. Whoever Jenks's best friend is in the first book, that would be my second follow-up choice for a supporting character, because their friendship was just adorable and funny, and they were really there for each other while also making each other laugh in their hard moments. I think we can all tell what kind of book this is going to end up being. Number 4, Trope. What trope can you not get enough of? Recommend multiple books. I am going to go with the small town trope. I love small towns. I love seclusion in general. So if you're in a secluded area, like you can't leave this room, that's great for mystery. And whenever it comes to a larger selection of characters, I like small towns where everyone knows each other and everyone's in each other's business, but things are still mysterious. Top 2 recommendations for that. I have The Invisible Husband of Frick Island. This is, I believe, off the coast of New York. And Frick Island is this super insulated community. You can only get there by ferry, and the ferry isn't always on time, and the ferry rides depend on the time of year, and you have this person who's trying to write about this mystery on Frick Island, where there's this woman who, it appears her husband has died, but the whole town is playing along with her as she pretends that her husband is still with her and still alive. So it's a cute little mystery. Everyone's getting in each other's business. Follow-up to that is The Flicker of Old Dreams. I haven't talked about this book for a while, but it was recommended by a subscriber. Focus, camera. And I adored this. We're following a mortician? Embalmer. An embalmer working in her father's mortuary. There is this... It's been a while since I've read it. There was some event that happened a couple of years ago, and what happened isn't necessarily what people think happened. So you're following this embalmer as she tries to figure out what she's doing with her life, where it's all going, and what happened years ago during this incident. Then we have the plot twist. What book has your favorite plot twist? It's hard to pick a favorite, but I'm going to go ahead with a book that I've talked about recently, but haven't read in several years, but really want to reread soon. And that is going to be The Silent Wife. You have this couple who is married. They're not very happy. And the idea is that the wife kills the husband. And so you're following the lead up to the murder. But what we're told is happening might not exactly be what's happening. It had an excellent plot twist at the end that really kind of left you guessing. And I like a plot where things are largely wrapped up, but there's still 1 or 2 things that you're not sure on that are left a little open, that twist around, that keep you guessing as to what's going to happen next or what really happened. So excellent plot twist. Relationships. What kind of relationship is important in your book? Clearly, friendships are important to me. I have started to read romances more, but I still prefer friendships to romances. And I think my favorite friendship or general relationship of the year has to go to Tanner and Louise from the Mostly True Story of Tanner and Louise. A very popular trope in romance fiction is grumpy sunshine, where you have the really grumpy character and the really sunshiny, happy character, and they fall in love with each other. The Mostly True Story of Tanner and Louise is very much, I think, grumpy sunshine, or even grumpy. It just kind of depends on what part of the book you're in. But they're not romantic with each other. They're just put in this situation where they're kind of forced together and end up begrudgingly getting along with each other and coming to really treasure each other. Louise, if I remember correctly, is in her 80s and Tanner is 20 or 21. And Tanner is supposed to be taking care of Louise, but then they end up going on an unexpected road trip. And I adored this relationship. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it made for a great adventure. Villain. Which villain would you steal for your book? My first answer would be Yzma, because she's my favorite Disney villain, one of my favorite film villains in general. Yzma is just fantastic. More people need to love her. As for actual villain in a book, this is going to be an unusual answer. I think I'm going to go for The First Day of Spring by Nancy Tucker. In this book, you have an 8-year-old who kills another child, and throughout the book, you're exploring why she killed another child, what death means to children, what death specifically means to her, what her upbringing was like, and in an alternate timeline, not alternate, but a future timeline. Like, you're following her as a child and what happened, but you're also following her as an adult dealing with the fallout. While she's not necessarily the villain of this story, she is a bit of a villain in her own story. She's painted as a villain in the town that she lived in. And I love a villain type or anti-hero type who is really misunderstood or has some really good reasons for doing the things that they've done, or really like intriguing reasons. So I think that, what was her name? Chrissy? I think Chrissy would have to be the villain that I go for, because I love a villain who's got a lot of layers, who's got a lot of reasoning. It's just brilliant. Lastly, an ending. Which kind of ending do you like best? This is a super unpopular opinion from what I've seen, but I really like open endings. Obviously not for the whole book. I want a lot or most of the book's plot points to be tied up, but I love having 1 or 2 or 3 open endings, or you have the epilogue where life is continuing on and you don't know where life is going to lead them, but you just know that the story doesn't really end there. And I should say, by saying that I like open endings or continuation endings, it's gonna be a bit of a spoiler with the 2 books that I've picked. But that is going to be Just Like Mother. This is following 2 girls who grow up in a cult and end up being taken out of the cult, but maybe the cult has continued. This is exploring women and what people think that they owe the world, the lifestyles that people think women need to lead. We are following a child-free main character. I love that we have a child-free main character because it's not something that I see really often. I will say she doesn't end the book with that same attitude, which did bother me a bit, because there's this idea that if you're child-free, you're going to change your mind. So not to say that you can't change your mind, but because that's such a popular belief, I don't think we're ready to have that happen in books yet, until we come to a better understanding of what it means to be child-free and the different dynamics in that and the different directions that people end up going. But regardless, this has a bit of an open ending, and I really enjoyed that. Then we have Firestarter, which isn't a book that I thought I would talk about with this, because I didn't love this book. The movie with Drew Barrymore is great. I haven't seen the new one yet, but Firestarter is really slow. It's a slog. It's one of those that has too much character building, which is pretty easy to get with Stephen King. But this book, I wouldn't necessarily call it an open ending, but it definitely has a continuation ending where we see our main character as she grows up and becomes an adult without her support system. And we're seeing the people who are going after her might be trying to do something again. And I like that we have that continuation where we know the story doesn't end here, but also we never got a sequel to this, and I really enjoyed that. That is it for the prompts. So I think pretty clearly we've ended up with an open-ending, grumpy sunshine, plot twist, small town friendship book, which is a lot to put in a single book. The first time I did this tag, I will link that up above. I believe I would point in this direction. I always forget. But the first Build a Book tag that I did, I ended up with a creepy gothic survival fiction with great friendships and strong female characters. I think I would still have friendships and strong female characters and a fiction, but instead of creepy gothic survival, we got twisty, grumpy sunshine adventure coziness. I hope you liked my answers to these questions. I hope you like the book that we've built together. Please let me know down below, what would your ideal story be? What elements would your ideal story include? Please like, subscribe, be my friend on social media. I will see all of you tomorrow night for another 13 nights of Halloween. Bye, friends. Hello, readers. Oh, I forgot to turn on the lights.